welcome to CosmoMuse Tarot and my weekly Friday reading with your yes, no, maybe answers to your questions. So before we get into the piles, just typical reminder, or new to those of you that have never been here, to phrase your questions so that if you were to get a yes, that would feel like the outcome you're looking for. Okay, we have 4 piles here. Pile 1 is Opalite. Pile 2 is Calcified Blue Coral. Pile 3 we have Obsidian. Pile 4 is Dalmation Jaspre. Okay. So this reading will be done in 2 parts with each pile. I will first be looking at sort of just the energy underlying your question or some energies that might be affecting your question more indirectly, however it hits for you. And then in the second part, we'll do some different cards that show your answer. Okay, if you need more time to tune into these piles, you can pause here. And of course, if you have more than one question, you can choose different piles to match each of those questions. Okay, I will see you in your readings, starting with pile 1. Timestamps are in the descriptions. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your Friday Insight with your yes, no, maybe questions and answers. Okay, so you guys picked the Opalite, which we will just sort of place to the side for your reading. And tuning into some intuitive hits that came as I was preparing. Your first card flipped over, and so I just kind of kept it that way. And that definitely influenced sort of intuitive things that came. I immediately, when this card came out, I didn't even really see what the animal was or the plant, but it was more like the colors in relation to the colors already present in my space. I just got this immediate flash of like a darkening forest, like a forest going into nighttime. But being, like about like, how sometimes we can't, there's like that phrase that is like, how does it go? It's something like the trees versus the forest, or the forest versus the trees, meaning the big picture versus the details. And I got more of that up, like starting to ascend above the forest. So there may be something in your energy where you're starting to kind of pull away from some details to see things in a bigger view. And that kind of darkening element to me felt like pulling into your intuition as well, which matches really well with the owl. And this is owl and hops. And it's keyword of wisdom. So there may be something directly or indirectly about your question where you've been kind of entrenched in some details, but something's happening where you're able to start zooming out to see things in like a bigger perspective, in a more holistic way. So that's always good to get a more broad perspective of something. Can really shift things for us. So I think that's something positive coming in. Okay, let's pull your other cards over. We have the otter and cattail with peace. And we've got the coyote and datura with deceit. Interesting. I definitely feel, with like coyote, they tend to be down in the trenches of the forest with the trees versus being able to see like the owl above things. And so there may be things you've been too close to, even though you've been able to kind of be a little covert and observe from a safe space. There may have been things around you you didn't realize were affecting you in certain ways. And it doesn't necessarily have to be people or events. It could just even be like your environment being cluttered, or a mentality being not in a great space or something like that. It's like, because you've been down so close to the ground in things, it's been hard for you to see certain things that have been impacting you in negative ways. And I don't read this card as like someone has deceived you. It feels more like you just haven't been seeing the big picture, and in that, from that perspective, by not seeing the big picture, you've been not, how do I put this? Because I don't even want to use the word deceit. It's not quite right to me. It's like, well, maybe like you've deceived yourself. You haven't seen the whole picture, so there's certain areas that you haven't perceived correctly. You've been too close to, and just by the nature of being too close to something, you've had the wool pulled over your eyes, not like intentionally, just you're too close to something. But I feel you pulling out. And then the otter and cattail, for some reason I immediately like looked to this stone, like the blues really are standing, like kind of connecting here. I don't know if that color is, no, that's just the stone. I wasn't sure if the blue from this card was like reflecting into the stone, but it's not. They're just mirroring each other. That color of blue feels clear. So I feel like as you pull up, yeah, because this is up, this card is up. So like as you pull up, as you get a more broadened perspective, things will clarify for you. You'll be seeing more correctly, and it will bring a greater sense of peace to you. Okay, let's get a tarot confirmation for each of these. Let's see. The Hermit, yeah, needing to get into your own kind of instinct, trusting your own wisdom in something. Two of Grails. Let's get the third card, because I have some thoughts with Two of Grails, but I want to see what comes out for Coyote and Datura. Seven of Grails. Yeah, absolutely. There's some things, like by being too close to a situation, you're actually not seeing that there's like too many things cluttering something in your life. And you need to, by zooming out, by elevating and looking more at the big picture, you're going to see that there's things that you need to weed off of your plate, take off of your plate. There's like too many options, too many things, too many elements, whatever it is to you, too many concerns. And it's like you need to weed those out. And as you do that, you're going to come into a sense of rightness and calmness and peaceness. And because it's from 7 to 2, it's like a lot needs to be taken. Like there's way too much that is surrounding this issue, or just you in general. There's a lot that you're needing to kind of weed out. And you'll see that as you pull up. And the more you take away, the more clutter you can clear, the more things you can clear that are kind of spreading you thin, or spreading something about this question thin, the more you will distill a sense of peace and rightness, and kind of that intuitive sense of, you know, a lot of people ask like, well, what is intuition when I know something's right? Sometimes I think that and then I do something and it wasn't right, but I had that excited feeling. Intuition isn't excited, that's anxiety. If you feel excited about something, You need to wait for that to pass to know intuitively what's speaking to you, because intuition is calm and it's sure. It's just very like, yeah, this is right. It's neutral and it's sure. And that's the feeling you want to feel. You'll feel that when you've taken enough, like once you've taken enough off your plate, you'll feel that calm sureness about something. Okay, so this is underlying energy. This may relate directly to your question, or it may relate to certain energies that are affecting your question and many things in your life. So we're going to move on from here into the second part of the reading to get your actual answer. And for this, with a collective reading, really love, sorry, I've got to reach really far to get this. Sorry, this deck was way out of reach for me. I'm going to pull 3 different piles, and then I will give you some quiet time, about 10 seconds, to feel into which one is calling you in. And then we will roll a 12-sided dice and reveal your card to get your answer, but you're just going to pick one of the 3. So 2 cards came out here. So that's pile 1, pile 2, and pile 3. Okay. And I'm shifting. If you've been coming to these lately, the last couple of months, or a month and a half or so, I had been rolling a 12-sided dice where certain numbers were yes versus maybe versus no. And I did like that, and I like doing this 3 piles, 3 different options for answers, but I'm just intuitively, I wasn't unhappy with how that was going, but I just had an intuitive sense as I've been doing that, like different thoughts of associations have come up with the dice for me, and so I'm trying something different today. So the numbers don't necessarily have a connection to yes, no, maybe, but I'm going to use the number and the card in tandem to kind of intuitively feel an answer. And the numbers will have different, more kind of like astrological symbolism rather than like a spectrum of good versus bad or yes versus no. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 seconds to tune into the piles. When you have chosen yours, we will turn your card and roll the dice, and I'll distill like a quick answer for you. Okay. All right, if you need more time to choose which pile you feel has your yes or no or maybe, you can pause here. Otherwise, we'll start with pile 1. So I'm going to do the card first. It has Ocean, Jaspre, schedule yourself in. And then I'm going to roll a dice with 7. This is definitely like there's something in yourself you need to trust better. It's like you have the answer. There may be another person that's really influencing you or really deeply ingrained in your question. But you need to cut their, like, not that you can't hold empathy and consideration and conscientiousness for another, but whatever this question is about, it's like you need to connect to what you need. I think so this to me is a maybe. It's like you have the answer, and you'll find that when you can really get into your own energy and connect to what you need. And in terms of that, what you need may be take an action, to trust your inner guidance, to set a boundary, to whatever it is. There's something where you need to trust yourself and kind of cut out the opinion of any other there. So definitely a maybe here for you guys. I think it will depend on how well you can like tune out consideration external to you. Yeah, okay. Pile 2, let's see if we can get something for you. Aragonite. Release your emotional baggage. Okay. Rolling a dice. Yeah, I definitely immediately felt a sense of a no here for you guys. Like there's transformation taking place. And I think from the first part of this reading that aspect of zooming out is really going to help in that. And as you zoom out, as you clear some things out to help in your transformation, whether that's directly about your question or just generally your energy right now, like things are going to change, but you will have some clarity come to you around this question, and you'll really understand why it's a no. Okay, pile 3, let's do you guys. Bloodstone, get up, get moving. And 7, interesting 7, and we did have that 2 of Cups in the first part of the reading. So for 2/3 of you, maybe even more, there's definitely something about relationship going on here. This one feels like a yes to me. This one is like take action, make the decision. Yeah, do whatever it is you're feeling the impulse to do. If you don't know what that is, if you don't have an impulse, this is sort of like get up and just do something, move, and you'll find that clarity. But getting yourself in motion will bring you the clarity you need to understand this yes. Yeah, okay, so that is pile 1's reading. I hope this was insightful and helpful. If so, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well. And just to let you guys know as well, in the description section of this reading, there's a link to a Substack that I write for, which is sort of like a newsletter. And it's where I share a lot of my astrological insights, and I do once a month for the month, kind of the outlook or forecast of the month. And for those who subscribe to the paid versus free, there's also by sign horoscopes and taroscopes as well, but plenty of free beautiful stuff for free subscribers too. So if you are astrologically curious or inclined, go check that out as well. All right, I will see you guys in future readings. Have a beautiful day. Hello, pile 2. Welcome to your Friday insight with your yes, no, maybe answers to questions you're bringing. So before jumping into the cards, I love to tune into intuitive hits that came as I was preparing. And for you guys, I initially was just kind of feeling like a little bit of an anxiety here. And then as I was putting these cards out, this last one flipped over. And when that happens, I usually feel like it's meant to be upright as we start. And so I kind of looked at that, and it's the bobcat and blackthorn with patience. And that hit really deeply for what I was feeling, like you're anxious for something to happen, but maybe there's some patience needed because whatever you're waiting for just, is requiring some patience. It's not coming as quickly as you would like. But channeling that bobcat, any big cat, they're great. They have a great amount of patience. They will stalk, observe, and like hone in on their prey with such stealth, patient efficiency. And so maybe there's some sort of goal or attainment you're looking for, or focus or objective. And it's saying like, you know, channel that big cat energy. Blackthorn to me, you know, these are kind of thorny things. So maybe there's like a thorny issue too, where that patience is partially needing to like carefully move through things. Like don't rush or you might prick yourself type of analogy. But also like being patient with honing in on finding a focus, finding the objective, finding that certain clarity that you're needing to stock in this. Yeah, so that's sort of what I was feeling there. So let's see your other two cards. We have the Marten and Foxglove with Mischief. Interesting. I don't know if this is you or something going on around you. And then let's get your other card. I mean, the mischief and these blackthorns are interesting to me. Like don't get yourself in trouble or be careful of someone else's troublemaking. And then chipmunk and laurel, success. And I feel like the bobcat is talking about the path towards success here is like patience to hone in on and patience to kind of navigate very carefully certain things here, because either there's mischief going on, or if you approach it with a more mischievous energy, you could lose some of that patience and caution and sort of, you know, fumble things. Or if there's mischief around this question, you may fall into little traps or something, whichever side it's coming from. The strategy to me feels like patience, cautious, just channel that big cat, like a big cat trying to get, you know, hone on it in its focus or target or prey, and having to do so in a bit of a thorny area. So like channel that as an analogy of like the energy you need. And that is your way to success. And I know like laurels, I think in ancient Greece, when they had like the original Olympic Games, the winners would have like a laurel crown that they'd put on them. I think something like that anyway. So like winning here as well. Okay, let's get a tarot confirmation card for each of these. Woo. Got Two of Pentacles, which indicates like balancing things, figuring out your priorities. It's interesting. They feel like they have like this, I don't know, the Marten and this woman feel like they have kind of the same demeanor. This feels to me like don't cut corners, don't try to find the quick win or the quick solve. That's not the stable way. That's what this feels like to me. It's like, get your ducks in a row. What are your priorities? What can you balance? Like those kinds of considerations. Like the Marten to me feels like fast and loose, and then the Two of Pentacles feels much more stable and focused and prioritized, and that's like what you need to do. And then we've got Two of Swords. It's like deliberation. And Judgment. Interesting. Oh, this is fascinating because Two of Swords versus Judgment. Like, I think you may want more control over this question than you actually have. Like, maybe there's this thing of like, by using weighing and measuring and logic and this and that, I can like find my way through to the success. But this is saying that the outcome to your question is out of your hands. There's a judgment on its way in. It's already been taken out of your hands, kind of thing. And so maybe instead of the weighing and measuring that typically is associated, like sitting on the fence with Two of Swords, tuning into the image on this particular one of just like relaxing, trusting, that some kind of result is already incoming. I think maybe there is a little bit of a test on you, you know, to do things thoroughly and balanced and in a stable, methodical way. There's a little bit of a test around that. But in terms of being able to use your mind to make some kind of outcome beyond being thoughtful and careful and balanced, isn't possible here. So partially there's things you need to be doing, and partially things you need to be letting more go of, like methodical processes, and then letting go of trying to control something here. Yeah, it's like get into process, out of mind, let go and let God, just do the best you can type of thing with thoroughness. Yeah, that's what it feels like here. Yeah, so this is all about some underlying energy, either directly about your question or underlying energy that's affecting your question that's not directly about your question, however it resonates to you. So let's move into the second portion of the reading where we get your actual yes, no, maybe. And if you have been coming in the last month and a half, 2 months, I love experimenting with how these answers come. It's always a refinement process for me. So how I've been doing it lately is with a collective reading, love the idea of there being multiple outcomes to choose from. So I'm going to pick 3 piles and you'll choose one of those. I'm going to give you some quiet time to tune into those. And where some refinement comes in this week versus the last few weeks of doing this dice and card pile selection is I had been rolling the dice to get the answer, kind of 1 through 12 dice having like a scale between yes and no. But certain like intuitive things would come up for me during that process over the past many weeks of doing that. And I started seeing patterns with it. And so I'm just tuning into that, just following my intuition. I was happy with how those readings were going, but yeah, just some intuitive things started happening. And so the dice is no longer, to me, going to be this kind of like spectrum of, you know, yes to no. They're going to have a little bit more of some astrological association rather than yes-no association. So I'm going to give you time to tune into the 3 piles. You'll choose one that you feel has your answer, and then we'll turn your card over and roll the dice, and I'll, based off of the message of the card and what the dice comes up with, I'm just going to intuit some kind of answer for you between yes, maybe, and no. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 10 seconds. Okay, if you need more time with the cards, feel free to pause for as long as you need. When you are ready, we'll start with the first card. I'm going to flip it over and then we'll roll the dice. So Unakite, live in the now. And 5. This feels like a yes to me. This is sort of be in the moment, be present, follow your heart. There's something right now going on. It's like move with the now, be present to the now. There's opening, there's heart access that's leading you correctly. That's how this feels to me. Yeah. 5 energy, that connects to that bobcat for me. Big cats, kind of Leo energy with the 5. So yeah, be courageous as well. There's something about being courageous and following your heart. Okay, let's do card 2. You guys have fluorite. Find peace within. That feels connected with like letting go of trying to like mentally control something here. And just accepting kind of that judgment that's on its way in. And you got 5 here as well. But it feels very different from the 5 to that one. Find peace within. This feels like a maybe to me, dependent on how you feel about your question. When asking your question right now, like in your head to yourself, if getting yes has a sense of peace, like imagine getting a yes to your question, if there's a sense of peace and beauty that brings, then it's a yes. If the question you asked, if getting a yes doesn't necessarily bring that, like if it's, well, I don't want to give examples because there could be a million different questions here. But if you don't get a sense of peace when you think about your question and think about, like project that there's a yes to it, if it doesn't feel beautiful and peaceful, then it's a no. So it depends to me the question you brought here. And so that's something you'll just have to feel into for yourself. Okay, let's do the 3rd pile. Celestite, soothe your soul. Okay, let's get 9. 9 and soothe your soul. This feels like a no to me, and it feels like a timing. It feels like those blackthorns are maybe sort of this deterrent to your yes, but they're for your protection. They're trying to say whatever you're asking about, it's not the right time. Whatever you're asking about would like push your boundaries or take you out of your comfort zone, but like right now, that's not what you should be doing. There's something about needing to like ground and nurture and find your comfort zones right now to sort of, yeah, feel more connected to your soul, feel more aligned within yourself, feel more more clear about what you're doing. Like there's a depth and strength you're still needing to cultivate in order to start expanding, and it's just like not the right timing, but you'll get there. It won't be, maybe the thing you're asking about right now won't be the thing that comes around when you have more strength and stability, but something will come around that you would ask about that would replace this. I mean, it could be the same thing, but it might be something else. But there will be a time when you have that strength to kind of like push yourself a bit, but it's not right now. Okay, so this is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope these insights and answers resonated, were helpful, insightful, all the things. If they were, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes, and definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. Also trying to do better at talking about other things I do. So you'll find down in the descriptions a link to my SUBSTACK, which is kind of like a newsletter that I put out monthly. And it's where I share my astrological musings. That's before I ever got into cards, long before I ever got into cards, I've done astrology for like 25 years. It's, you know, the thing I'm most grounded in mysticism. So if you're interested in astrology, go check out that Substack. There's monthly forecasts. For those of you that join as a paid subscriber versus free subscriber, also get you know, monthly by sign horoscopes and tarot scopes, but there's lots of beautiful free stuff as well. So check that out if you are interested in astrology. All right, I will see you in future readings, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Hello, beautiful pile 3, my Obsidian pile. For those of you that came to this group, I want to tune into some intuitive hits that have come as I was preparing things. And then we will jump into your cards. So I definitely, as I was, you know, shuffling and laying out these initial cards and, you know, preparing the space, my mind just like wandered, and all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I try to be really intentional about like sort of paying attention to what's going on during this time to kind of really feel into the pile. And I typically take that as a sign that like maybe, you know, for you guys, there may be some attention needing to be found. Like you may be kind of, your energy a little scattered or a little daydream, a little kind of spacing out. And as I was sort of feeling into that and then tuning into your stone. The stone is something I always use to really more directly connect if I'm struggling. And so I was feeling into that, and I was like, oh, because I was like, oh, it feels like a focus, like the stone is bringing focus. But then I was like, at the same time, it also feels like that void of we're being spaced out. It can just be this dark void that's never ending if you don't kind of get a control of it. And I'm like, well, it's like two sides of the same coin. Whereas like if you don't bring some focus to your energy right now, you'll just kind of like be wasting some energy. So yeah, there's like kind of a call to action here of like try to get your energy more focused. And that could be in general, or it could be specific to the question you brought, whatever feels right to you. Okay, let's dive into the cards, which are a little bit more directly related to your question. We've got Fox and Ivy with adaptability. Interesting. And I can't help but notice the black and the black there. And that might be, you know, like when things are changing in our energy or in our lives, sometimes it can scatter our energy and it can be hard to find new focus. But that, to me, this adaptability is like, you know, you might need to move with changing things, find ability to pivot, but always find a focal point as that happens. Like, don't be stubborn about your focal points, allow adjustments when needed, but each time there's some need for flexibility or adaptability, find a new focus, you know, but just don't be stubborn about it, kind of thing. Okay, and then we've got the Ram and Dahlia, determination. And yeah, I mean, that to me again is bringing up, and these black backdrops are this thing of like, you could easily lose your focus, or you could really be determinedly focused, you know? And I can't help but notice these dahlias are so beautiful. So it's like maybe every time you're asked to adapt or change this or that, like look for the beauty of the situation, and that's the focus for you. If you're struggling to know like, okay, yeah, things are changing, but like, how do I know what to focus on? It's like whatever feels beautiful to you in each pivot you have to make, that's the focus for that moment. And then next time you're asked to pivot again, find what feels beautiful and focus there. Okay, third, we've got squirrel and chestnut preparation. So also, like, you know, even if there's things you can't control, you're needing to be adaptable to changing circumstances, you can always be doing something to feel a little bit more organized in your life and creating kind of rhythms in your life. And I feel like that's something that might ground you at this time, because I do get the impression that whatever this underlying energy is like definitely indicating a lot of changes. So take care of your own energy and feeling nourished and grounded by keeping your life rhythmic and organized. Yeah, okay, let's get some confirmation tarot cards for each of these. And I do keep feeling my attention wandering. It's interesting. 5 of Grills. Yeah, these changes, whatever's changing in your life. Oops, sorry, I keep shaking the table. Whatever's changing in your life could have to do with something you're having to let go of. There could be some grief here, which would naturally kind of put your wandering mind into a black hole of just putting your energy into nothingness, just into a never-ending kind of grief. But it's like if you can find focuses within, you know, despite losses, despite changes, despite having to adapt to new circumstances, if you can find focuses that do feel beautiful, it will help you to pull yourself out of some kind of hole here. And it doesn't mean you have to not allow yourself to grieve certain things. You can still grieve and find focus at the same time. I've seen certain brain behavior practices, coping mechanisms for loss that some people do, where they schedule a time, whether it's 5 minutes or an hour every day, to just cry. Just like have your pity party or cry or feel what you need to feel, whatever it is. It's like schedule that in, and then for the rest of the day kind of like get to it, find that focus, be engaged with life. I feel like there's some encouragement around doing something like that here. And then the Emperor, yeah, like new order is trying to come into your life. And that would indicate also that like whatever beauty you can focus on to sort of bring some focus into your life is something that will help new order feel right to you, to feel beautiful, to feel enlivening to you. Okay, and then we've got Justice as well. So it's definitely not for everybody, but there may be a few people here that have like gone through some sort of legal proceeding, like a divorce, or like legal issues with their business, something where maybe you didn't feel like you came out on top, or whatever happened with that felt difficult and really changed life. For the rest of you, this has to do with like establishing some balance, like being fair to yourself in what's going on right now in your energy by attending to feeling like you have some kind of rhythm and organization in your day, in your energy. That is what would be fair to you right now and what would establish some balance for you. Yeah, interesting. So whether or not this felt like it was speaking directly to your question, there's something going on with this energy that is affecting your question. So let's move to the second half of the reading where we actually get some yes, no answers for you, yes, no, maybe answers for you. If you've been coming to these yes, no, maybes in the last, month and a half to 2 months, you've noticed I have changed things up where I do 3 piles with a collective reading. I love there to be different potential outcomes. And I had been rolling a dice, a 12-sided dice, to kind of get your answer, and then looking at your card to get some guidance around that answer. And I liked how that was going, but just intuitively I was starting to notice some patterns with those numbers. And so I'm changing it up a little bit. So instead of that dice holding association with yes, no, the numbers have more specific associations that I've noticed. And so I'm going to be using those instead of the numbers as yes, no. I will look at your card and then roll the dice, and then I'll intuitively, based on how the number and your card interact, kind of pull out an answer for you. So 3 piles. Once we get all 3 of the piles out, I'm going to give you about 10 seconds to feel into those and feel into which one you are drawn into as holding your answer. Okay. All right. Whoops, get these more straight. Okay, so I'm going to give you 10 seconds to feel into the 3 different cards. Card 1, card 2, card 3, and determine which one is pulling you in for your answer. So obviously just pick one. And I will give you about 10 seconds now to tune into those. Okay, if you need more time with that, feel free to pause here. And once you are ready, we will start with the first pile. So I'm going to turn the card over and then roll the dice. So turquoise, prioritize your health. That feels very connected to that sort of like organizing and balancing. There's something you're needing to really tune into specifically about that to, yeah, just get back a certain energy, a certain health, a certain way of being that is needed right now. And then your dice is 4, which this is all about self-care right now, like really needing to tend to you, really needing to do some self-care, really needing to find a way to kind of like pull your energy together, pull something together about life. So unless your question relates to something about that, like, is this the time to kind of go inward, to pull myself together, to tend to me? If it is about that, it's a yes. If it's about anything else, it's a no. And the no is just because like you really need to get back on your feet, find a way to pull your energy back together in some way. Okay, card 2. Let's flip your card over. Lapis lazuli. Make a decision. So this feels connected to things adapting, things changing, and that new order that's trying to come in. It's needing you to say yes to it, you to give some direction to your life. Let's see what this 3. So definitely could feel some sort of struggle to commit to a direction. But you can, it's going to be hard. So I'm going to say it's a maybe for this pile. It's going to be hard because you're in this mode of sort of feeling like you don't have enough information, you're not connected enough, you're not sure enough. There's like this underlying anxiety and this never-ending changing and whatnot. But like if you can focus and make a decision that feels clear, that feels stable, that feels right, then you can get your yes. But it's dependent on you feeling that sense of sureness about making a decision. And I think a strategy to do that is that organization aspect. Organizing life, creating a rhythm, finding focuses that feel beautiful to you would help you to make a decision that you feel stable and strong in. So yeah, it just depends on if you can find that quality of energy in a decision. For a lot of you, I feel like it's a no, though. For a lot of you, I feel like you're still needing to try, like it's like going into a store to do like back to school shopping, and it's like you need to try on things before you just buy them. And so you may still be in this phase of like needing to experiment a little and try things on and just get more information and more feedback and more pollination happening. I feel like the majority of you, that's sort of where the energy is, where it's just not really the right time. But if you connect to being able to feel really sure and stable in a decision, then it is yes for you. Okay, last pile, we have Pyrite. Let the money flow in. That's really beautiful. Okay, let's roll your dice. 7. This very much so connects to that balance and justice. I think you guys are coming into some acceptance of whatever's going on with this question and starting to move forward, starting to find your balance and kind of starting to move forward. So I feel a yes for this pile. All right. This is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, if it was helpful, insightful, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Always also grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. And I'm also trying to do a little better at talking about other things I do. So if you're interested in astrology, that's my main focus. That's something I've studied and done for like 25 years. In the descriptions for this reading, there is a link to my SUBSTACK, which is kind of like a newsletter. And each month I put out sort of an astrological forecast, sort of universally. And then for those who do a paid versus free subscription, there's also by sign horoscopes and taroscopes as well. But lots of, for free subscribers, there's still a lot of beautiful insight and astrological stuff to tune into each month. So check that out if you like astrology. And yeah, I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 4. Welcome to your Friday Insight reading, where we get answers to your yes, no, maybe questions. You guys picked this Dalmation Jaspre. Oh, that's my puppy. Hi, End. Which my dog behind me is starting to throw a tantrum about getting his evening walk because I'm running late into doing. I always do all of my tarot readings for a week on one day that I've kind of set aside, and I'm sort of like running late into the time where he gets his nightly walk and he's throwing a tantrum. And that just adds into the intuitive hits I had already gotten as I was preparing your pile, where it was sort of like I felt rushed, I felt fumbly, I felt anticipatory and uncertain. Doesn't mean anything bad. Just to preface that, it's not like this already sense of like a no here. Definitely didn't get that at all. It's just kind of a general energy. And a lot of times that uncertain energy can be connected to things that are sort of incubating, and we're just not sure how that's going to turn out or if it's actually coming. We sense it, but I'm getting, a connection to that and sort of like this anticipation and just this uncertainty. It's like an overall kind of uncertainty and feeling a little like rushed and frenetic about it. So that might be your general energy at the moment you come to this reading. It could be connected to your question. It could be connected to how your life feels right now. Whatever connects to you. Okay, let's look at your cards though. So we've got the rooster and sunflower with communication. Yep, that confirms my dog's communicating to me. It's like, hurry up. So you may be feeling rushed by certain communications. Maybe there's like deadlines at work or that you've placed on yourself, or there's just like a lot of communication right now that's kind of making things feel frenetic, or maybe that's about to come in. Something like that, yeah. Okay, let's look at the next card. We have opossum and peony, bashfulness. Yeah, that's interesting. The color, like there's such bold colors in this and such soft kind of feminine colors here and masculine colors there. I don't know. I'll have to feel into that for a minute. Let's look at the third card. The quail and gooseberry with anticipation. Can't make it up, guys. And I swear I do not look at these beforehand. If one flips over during it, I leave it up, but I don't look at them. So anticipation, communication, maybe you're anticipating a communication. For some of you, bashfulness could be that uncertainty. That's what that feels like, that uncertainty, like, is something happening? Is it not? I don't know what's going on, what's happening, and just feeling a little bit like receding because you don't quite know how to like handle the energy or the question or some scenario. You're just like unsure, and so you're just kind of a bit passive or something. So however any of that connects for you guys, let's get some confirmation cards with the tarot. Maiden of Swords. New, it's like you're waiting, for a new thought. Maybe that communication is like you're waiting to know how to communicate something, or you're waiting for a new kind of communication, or you're communicating something new, something fresh, something you're inspired in a different way and you're like eager to get it out. Whatever connected to you of all those things I just spewed out. The Fool. Yeah, something new. There's a spark, there's an impulse. I think you're eager to communicate it, or some communication coming in is inspiring you in new ways, creating new thoughts. Either way, something's either creating new thoughts or you have new thoughts that you're wanting to disperse. That could be a little bit of both. New things coming in that's inspiring you, that's making you want to share new thoughts. But it feels, like a little bit eager and maybe a little premature. But let's see the third card with the anticipation. 3 of Spears. It is, whatever this is, it is like beautiful energy. It is fortuitous. I think you need to feel into what feels like the right moment for your impulse. Like, don't just, there is some uncertainty about jumping towards something, but you're feeling eager to. And I feel like just be prepared. Just be aware, ready, prepared. Try and get centered. Oh, my dog is... Are you kicking things around to try and get my attention? Okay, this reading is wanting... You're like, can we go? That's my dog asking, can we go on the walk now? And I feel like that's your question. Like, can this happen now? So I'll try and speed through this. My dog is communicating for you. Like, get to it. Your ship is coming in. Your ship is about to arrive. Don't initiate until you feel like that opening is right. There is going to be an opening that's right. I actually, for this pile, the way I have been doing my yes, no's, I go to a second part of the reading where it's like I get 3 different potential outcomes. So I make you pick a pile again and get like a quick yes, no, maybe. I don't think I even need to do that with you guys. Something new is starting. You're eager. You're like, let's get to it. But calm your nerves, ground yourself, because there's going to be the right moment and you'll know that right moment. But it's a yes here. Whatever you've asked about is eager, it's fresh, it's exciting, it's fun. You should have a yes here, go towards a yes here, it is a yes here, whatever it is to you. But there will be a moment you know the yes. Don't act on this until you feel that. Or don't settle on knowing it's a yes until you feel that. It's like an announcement or a communication or that feeling of like the door opened or the ship came in. It's like you'll know the moment to act. But I feel like there's something you're wanting to act on, and just breathe for a minute. Yes, act on it, but wait for the opportune time and you'll know it when it comes. Okay, so I'm not even going to do the second half of the reading. It's a yes across the board. Okay, that's where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate the support out there, such as with likes and shares and subscribes. I'm also always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments. Also trying to be better about talking about the other things I do. So if you are interested in astrology, that is my, I love doing cards. I feel pretty comfortable and confident doing cards, but beyond that, like I have done astrology for like 25 years. It's something I'm like, I feel very comfortable in and love sharing. So if you're interested in that, in the descriptions, there's a link to my Substack, which is sort of like a newsletter. There's a free subscription, which gives a monthly sort of universal overview and insight into the astrology of the month. Plenty of beautiful free stuff for free subscribers, but there's also for paid subscribers, there are by sign monthly horoscopes and taroscopes as well. So if you enjoy astrology, definitely go check that out. Again, link is in the descriptions. And yeah, I hope you guys are having a beautiful evening or day or morning, whenever you are, and I will see you in future readings. All right, see you guys.